Thank you.
Yeah.
It's a brilliant day.
Yeah.
Just phenomenal, powerful, incredible.
Leading edge.
Oh,
Yeah.
tremendously so.
Yeah.
So to pick up, because it's opened up so much and everybody has led, a couple days ago in New York, I was in a taxi and I was going to work, to the office. It was very early. It was a very cold day, very, very cold, some ice on the ground. And I started to, in my mind, I don't know why, start thinking about my business and things that maybe I should have done in the past. And all of a sudden I said, why am I going backwards? And I started doing that game you had mentioned once about doing 10 things I like, and I started to shift. And all of a sudden, in the cab, we got straight to Fifth Avenue, and there was Central Park. And it was a great day. The trees are still brown. But all of a sudden, the trees became alive and more beautiful than I had ever witnessed in my life. I noticed the shape of the branches, the bark, what was growing. You could almost see where the leaves were going to be and how it was going to be shaded, and it was incredible. It was almost as if a symphony was being played of vibrations, nothing that you could hear, but you could feel it, and everything was alive and in motion and moving. And then as we passed Central Park West and I was moving on, it went. But it wasn't a sadness, it was just felt like, okay, I had a great experience, and for the first time it felt that's normal. And then the day went on and it was beautiful, but it was just an incredible experience.
When those things happened to Esther, something like that happened just this last week, we were describing earlier. She described it, it felt like she went through a portal where everything was transformed. But the way we've described that before is it was a moment in time when in your connection, you were seeing the world through the eyes of Source.
Yeah.
What a wonderful explanation of how that happened. You started out a little bit responding to life, and then you caught yourself because you're sensitive to emotion and decided not to respond to life, not to respond to what is, but to get out ahead of it. And that's why you applied a process that you've practiced before that did get you out ahead of it. So you sort of quantum leaped vibrationally is the best way of describing it, and then had an affirming manifested experience. There you were having that experience. Nice.
Oh, it's incredible.
And
it felt almost as if that's like, is it part of how we think of eternity, of our eternal beings? Like that vibrations that were going on and that aliveness.
we have some questions for you. Someone asked the question earlier, how can I stay there? So I get there, and how can I stay there? Which is what Esther's saying when she says, maybe I'll just get Abraham and let Abraham live my life. But do you think we're asking, we're really not wanting to put words in your mouth? Well, we are, sort of. Didn't the contrast make that moment in time more?
Yes, much more.
And could it have been as sweet without having had experiences that were otherwise? And even in that moment in time when it wasn't, and then it was, and then it wasn't so much. Isn't that all part of the texture of life experience that helps you to focus?
Very much
and
so.
Isn't knowing that that's who you really are and catching glimpses of the perfection, in other words, you caught a glimpse of the perfection of that moment in time. You in a car, in a city, on a street, looking into a place, having that experience. But from a satellite dish world or universal point of view, that was a very specific moment in time that behaved perfectly for you, that you allowed to be perfect for you. Now, right now, step back just a little bit into the business thoughts that you were having earlier. And wouldn't it be sweet if instead of, as well as, we don't mean instead of, don't want to minimize the fabulousness of that moment in time, but likewise, a moment in time when you see the perfection of your business, a moment in time when you see the perfection of the world economy, a moment in time when you understand the perfection of the blending of humanity on this planet, because it's easy in these days to get far, far, far away from that. So if you can catch a glimpse of alignment relative to the park you're looking into, you can find glimpses of alignment into the business that you're looking into the economics of the world that you're looking into the well-being of children that you're looking into. In other words, it doesn't matter what the topic is. When you get tuned in, tapped in, turned on, can you imagine seeing humanity the way you saw that park? Can you imagine how much it put into your vortex and how wonderful that would feel? You saw the park the way your inner being always sees the park. Wouldn't you like to see economy the way your inner being always sees economy? Wouldn't you like to see your bank account the way your inner being sees your bank account? Wouldn't you like to see your relationships the way your inner being sees your relationships? Wouldn't you like to see politics the way your inner being sees politics? Or religion, or? Ah, yeah.
Very much so. Thank you. Thank you.